Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alicia and we are here to film another budget video. This video is long overdue. It is going to be setting up our week 1 check-in and checking in for our week 1 of March. We did set up some of these spreads already together, which was the monthly view along with the dashboard. And then we set up our variable income, our March budget, and our sinking funds and transaction log. Off camera, however, we did set up our weekly balance and our savings tracker. I decided to set up both of these spreads off camera since it is already a bit into the month and I wanted to get started on some of the April budgets and catch up some of the 2024 budget video spreads. So I did just decide to just not film these on camera. So in this video, I'm only going to briefly touch bases, but for April, when we film these again together and set them up together, I'll go more into depth. For this video, I do have my weekly check-in sticker sheet here so we can set this up along with all of our expenses. I already did write them down. We have tons of expenses for this month so far, but I did want to talk about a couple of things first. One of them being for our credit score. Now, you guys might know that I started sharing our credit scores for both mine and my husband when we decided to start focusing on paying our student loans. So I can share with you guys how it affects our credit score from month to month. It definitely fluctuates quite a lot. I'm not really sure about the analytics for it, for how the numbers are calculated on the back end with the credit bureaus. I really would love to know. I find myself a little confused sometimes about how the numbers fluctuate so much. I just wanted to give you guys an update real quick. So for my husband, his has gone down from the previous month. Last month for February, his credit scores for all 3 credit bureaus were all in the 800s, but it has gone down for this month. 2 of them went back down into the high 700s. I'm not sure if that has to do with us gearing towards focusing on paying my student loans versus his student loans, but that was one thing that changed. Along with for mine's, 1 of them went up while 2 went down. So that is the comparison. I really was looking at the different credit reports. I use Credit Karma for Equifax and TransUnion, and I use the Experian for the Experian numbers, and I really wasn't sure what the difference is comparing from every single month. So I'm hoping as time goes on, as I keep track of it and I look into it every month, I'll be able to understand it a little bit more. But that's just one thing I wanted to share with you guys and update you guys on. And then of course our savings tracker. From the last time we set this up together, we did add one additional category, which is for LASIK. I am so blind and it's been a huge hindrance in my life not being able to see without glasses, or at least not being able to see well for the most part. So me and my husband were discussing, and we really do want to see if we can save and goal ourselves towards paying for LASIK for myself, and LASIK is definitely quite the bit. So I'm going to save $6,000. I still have to reach out to my insurance to see maybe I could get like a better estimate, but this is just kind of the median estimate that I've just researched on in our area. So $6,000 will cover for both eyes, and I'm hoping it's less after I reach out to our insurance to get a better idea if they'll cover anything for it. But yes, so that's one thing that's changed. And then the next thing to catch you guys up on is definitely our weekly balance. This spread is what we use to balance out our checking accounts. Since we are cashless budgeters, we don't use cash for anything. We mainly use our credit cards. We use this to track one checking account, but of course you can use this to track a multitude of checking accounts if you have different categories, however you see fit for your budget. But for me, I like to have it where all of the funds are in one checking account and then I total up that said checking accounts. So for example, we have 3 categories here. We have our daily, which is our day-to-day spending categories or our electronic cash envelopes. These are the ones that are always set up in this section for our eating out, groceries, gas allowance, and our babies. The total of this equals $1,000. So that means our starting amount for the month is $1,000. Next, we have for bills. We have tons of bills for variable and fixed bills. All of our variable and fixed bills added up together equals to $3,300. So our starting amount for bills is $3,300. If you guys are curious about this, I do have the video setting up all of these and going over the numbers with you guys. But the last section that we did not calculate is going to be our top fixed section. This is usually what we set aside money to fund our sinking funds along with our savings ally accounts. This one, that $100 at the beginning of the month, I already transferred over the $100 over to that Ally savings account. But as for the sinking funds, the $800, I have that in our sinking funds category, but I total up that full section. So for sinking funds, we added $800 to different categories, but we started off with $836 at the beginning of the month. Since this, we roll over whatever we don't use every single month, and this is kind of run on saving accounts. So the total for our sinking funds, little chunk of funds, is $1636. And I have that written down for our starting amount, since that is what the start amount plus what we added to the funds equates to. Now, adding up the starting amounts for all three of our categories is $5,936. So that is what we started our checking accounts for the month of March. As you guys know, I always show you guys like a visual for our bank accounts. We have 2 checking accounts, 2 saving accounts. If you guys are curious about how we set these checking and saving accounts up and how our accounts intertwine and work together and how we utilize them and what the purpose of each one is, I will have videos linked below going into depth for them, because if I talk about them in this video, I will definitely talk your ear off, especially for those of you who already are familiar with how our system is. But the starting amount for the beginning of March is $59.36. That's housing our daily categories, our bills, all of our bill funds, and all of our sinking fund categories. That's in one checking account. Again, you definitely don't have to shove it all in one checking account. That's just what our preference is, and that's just what has been working for us. Since that intro was so long, the week 1 check-in intros are always crazy long, but let's just start setting up our weekly check-in. For this video, since it is a little bit out of order from our normal month-to-month videos, I am not going to talk about how much is in our short-term savings until the week 2, week 3 check-in, along with like our income that's been coming in, because I feel like if I talk about it now, it might be confusing since we're going to be balancing out the checking account. But we're going to now write down our weekly check-in. This spread is to check in for our day-to-day categories that we spend from, or our electronic cash envelopes, or if you guys use cash for our cash envelopes. We use these categories the most as the weeks go on, the days go on for the month, so it's really nice for me to keep track of them as time goes, especially just for purposes of just knowing how much we spend every single month and how our spendings change as the time goes on or life goes on. Week 3, I like to have 5 lines in between each week because I do have 5 categories that I track. And then I also only put 4 weeks. No matter how many days, I always just put 4 weeks instead of 5 weeks, mainly because it's easier and also because I don't have enough space to put a 5th week in here because I have 5 categories. So it just works out perfectly if I just do 4 weeks. 2, 4, and then 5. Okay, so this is the thin washi just to close out the spread. And then we have our little butterfly washies or flags. Okay, and then that's actually going to be it for this sheet. I do have one more thin washi, and I feel like I always end up putting it for the variable income, so I'm just going to put this here because I have it. Now that's going to be it for the sheets. I don't use week 5, so that will be set aside. Alrighty, so the lines are down for this spread, and I'm just going to copy over the dates real quick. So I have the lines down. I did copy over the dates for the week. I'm going to switch pens. I'm currently using a Muji pen in 0.5. I really do like the Muji pens, but I use them more so when I'm taking notes versus in my budget planner. So I'm going to be switching back to my Muji 0.38 pen. But now that we have this set up, I'm going to just write in the categories real quick as well. And it's really just our electronic cash envelope categories. It's always the same 5 that it's been for, I feel like, years now. And I don't roll over funds. Anything that we have left over per month, we usually try to throw in towards either our savings or for our debts. Now, let's finally start laying down these stickers for what we've been spending. I want to show you guys real quick because I haven't in quite a bit of time. The app that we use to budget, which is the daily budget app. This is the one that we use to track all of our transactions. This app, you definitely don't have to use the same way as I do. I really only use it just to track our different expenses, but there is a lot of features for this app, but I don't personally use them. I really just use it just for the balance portion. When we spend something, I just track it from here, and then when I check in for the week, I go to my transactions and I'm able to just kind of jot them down and transfer that information into our budget planner. I do it this way because I always have my phone with me versus carrying like a pen and paper. I don't always carry even like a wallet with me, but I always have my phone with me. So this has just been the easiest way for me to keep track of our expenses versus looking back in our bank statements or anything like that. The first of the month, we did not spend anything, so there's nothing spent. Then on the second of the month, we have 2 grocery carts, which means our grocery category. We spent $42 at Wegmans, which is this, what color would you call this? I guess like a really light burnt orange color, but we spent $42 from Wegmans. I wouldn't be able to tell you what we got, but we've definitely been trying to cook at home a lot more often lately, especially with how expensive it is now to eat out. And we also spent $24 from H Mart. We get a lot of our fresh produce, like our veggies from H Mart, like bok choy, yu choy, green onions, things like that. And then nothing else was spent on Saturday. The next category we spent was on the 3rd, which is this little fork and knife category from Coalfire. Essentially, this is where I'm going to be pulling all the information from for the rest of the video. But let's see. So that was on the 3rd for Coalfire. And eating out category is this pink color. And that was $52. It was definitely quite a bit. I don't remember why exactly we decided to get so much food from Coalfire. It was probably just one of those things we just felt like doing. We've been trying to downsize eating out and just eating from home. Next is on Monday, we did have a bill which was for our HOA. HOA is $80.66. Then nothing was spent on the 5th. On the 6th, we had a unbudgeted expense, which was for a license renewal. I'm thinking of adding another category to our sinking funds, like maybe an adulting category or something to cover things like this. So that was $48 for our license renewal for my husband since his license did expire. Then we had another expense for the 7th. We did get more groceries this day, and for this day we got more groceries from H Mart. We ended up just restocking on some things. Even ramen now is so expensive, but we spent $63. Then on the 8th, we have nothing spent, at least from our electronic cash envelopes. On the 9th, we had a bill. For this day, we had Netflix. I don't think Netflix actually came out this day, but I guess we're just going to leave it as is, because usually our Netflix bill is due on the 9th of the month. But that was our Netflix bill, and that is actually going to conclude our week 1 check-in. I do have tons of other expenses written down, but we're going to save those for week 2, week 3's check-in that I'm going to be doing next. But one more thing that I do want to do for this month is I do want to at least do our savings challenge. Our savings challenge is our little mini challenges. This is for the month of March, and the total that will be saved is $90 if we were able to save all 5 of these amounts. And we have not been spending from gas as much. I'm thinking of saving a little bit from our gas category. Let's actually do maybe $25 for now. Let's just do $25 for now, and then we'll see how it's looking after a week 2, week 3 check-in. But for $25, I'm going to take it out of our gas category. So for gas is this purple color. So I'm going to write savings challenge, and we'll do $25 for our little savings challenge, and we will put that here. Now to put our non-spend stickers, we only have a couple of non-spend for this month so far. So we have 1, 2, and then we have 3. I guess it could definitely be worse, but that's what it's looking like. Now let's talk about our sinking funds. We did have a few sinking funds that came out as well for this week. So we had our unbudgeted, which is our license renewal. We do track it in the spread because I do like to have a visual representation of our unbudgeted. I can just quickly have an overview look of the unbudgeted expenses per the month. But our unbudgeted is actually comes out of our sinking funds. And our sinking funds is just a run on little mini savings for unbudgeted, which is like for our unexpected or unbudgeted expenses that come about. But that was $48 for license renewal. Then for my baby's category, we purchased her birth certificate. She was born in February, and that was $41. Then for our pups, we had to buy another bag of food. That was $50. Gifts and treating. Our gifts and treating category, we purchased a couple gifts for our friends, and that was $48. Medical was $80 for some of our daughter's bills, which is just like for her newborn checkup or her 1 week checkup. Bills, I don't miss the bills, but that was $80. From a home category, we spent $18 to purchase some pillows from Costco. And then from our sewer and water bill, our quarterly water bill came out for $144.50, but we rounded up to $145. So those were sinking funds that we'll be checking in for this week as well. Let's see. Okay, so we have our weekly check-in. Let's do eating out first. Eating out, we only have one category color, and that was $52 for coal fire for eating out. Then for groceries, we spent quite a bit for groceries. So let's just add these up together. We have 63 plus 24 plus 42. And that in total is $129 that was spent for the first week on groceries. So $129. Then for gas, we spent, well, it's our savings challenge, but I mean, $25 from our gas category. Nothing else was spent for allowance or for our babies category. We do just have the one unbudgeted, but that was going to be it for these categories. Now to see what we have left over. So for eating out, we started the month with $300. That means $300 minus $52 equals $248. Then for groceries, we had $400 to start the month with. 400 minus the 129. That is $271 remaining for the month. For gas, we started the month with $150. That minus 25 is $125. Next, for the remaining two categories, for allowance and babies, $75 each, and nothing was spent from each, which means we still have $75 in both of those categories for the month. All right, so now to do the next bit, which is going to be balancing out the checking accounts. Now, for the first one, we'll do this one first, which is the ones we just balanced out for. We had spent $52, $129, and $25. Those added up together equals a total of $206 that was spent from those categories. And then we started the month with $1,000. So that minus the $1,000 means we still have $794 left over for all of those categories. As you guys can see, I have breakdowns upon breakdowns. So this daily category is broken down into these 5. The bills, of course, is broken down into all of our variable and fixed bills. And then our sinking funds is broken down into all of these sinking funds. So everything is definitely broken down quite a bit. You definitely don't have to do it this way, but for me, I like having every dollar go towards somewhere. Next is our bills. We did have a couple of bills come out, so let's talk about them. One of them was for Netflix, which was for $12.71. So that's Netflix, along with our HOA, which was $80.66. So both of those came out, and adding them together, $12.71 plus $80.66 equals $93.37. That came out for bills for this month. That minus the $3,300 that we had for bills at the beginning of the month means we still have $3,206.63 for bills. Last but not least, we have our sinking funds. For our sinking funds, we have quite a bit that came out, so we're going to calculate all of these, and I like to put a check mark so I know that these were already balanced out in a previous week. You guys know I love my check marks for sinking funds. I'm very visual when it comes to those. But we have 48 plus 41 plus 50 plus 48 plus 80 plus 18 plus 145 equals $430 spent from sinking funds, which is so much. So $430. I feel like I'm losing my voice, but $430, that minus the amount that we had in here was $1,636, means we still have remaining of $1,206 remaining in our sinking funds. Alrighty, so we're almost there. Last but not least, we just have to balance out, but first we have to do some transfers. Since we are cashless budgeters, everything we spend is on our credit card, which means we owe our credit card for some of the expenses we spent. For our daily, we always spend from our credit card. Same with our sinking funds, it's usually always spent from our credit card. So that in total, we already have to transfer that $206 plus that $430. That equals $636 that we have to transfer from our second checking account that houses these funds over to our primary checking account. This is the checking account that we have for all outgoing funds. Sometimes if it takes the weekend or it takes a bit of time for the institution to take out the money, it doesn't affect our budget, so we don't accidentally think we have more funds than we actually do. So let me transfer over $636 first real quick, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, last but not least is our bills category. The reason why I did not add this together with everything is because some of the bills we have come out of our credit card and some come out of our checking account directly. The reason why we have it like that is because we get 2% cash back on everything that comes out of the credit card. So whatever bills we were able to hook up to our credit card, we did, as long as they did not have any type of fees or penalties for hooking up a credit card versus a checking account. Of course, with doing that, it causes us to do a little bit of extra work when we balance out per week, since we have to remember which one comes out of where. For us, we have the mentality of if we're going to be paying the bill anyway, we might as well just get that 2% cash back. So for our bills, out of the two that came out, HOA came out directly from our checking accounts. So they already have their funds out of this account. So we don't have to transfer anything. They already took out that $80.66. However, for Netflix, since we paid with our credit card, we still have that money. So we have to transfer over $12.71 over so we can pay our credit card back that $12.71. To be honest, I probably should have just added it and just transferred it all at once, but it's fine. I'm just going to go and transfer it right now. Okay, so that is now transferred as well. So I'm going to just mark these off. The reason why I mark things off over here as well is because I like to just make sure visually all of our bills, they come out for the month. And then I also do like to just double cross it off once we check it in. Now is the fun part, which is just seeing how much we have in this account. Adding these up together, $794 plus $3206.63 plus $1206 equals a total of $5,206.63. So that is how much that is in this account after the week one's check-in. Now, the last thing that I wanted to talk about, because I still have not been able to do it yet, which is our 2024 savings challenge. And I really do want to start playing this board. I'm thinking of starting this for next check-in, for week 2, week 3's check-in, just so I have a better estimate of what our accounts are looking like for our electronic cash envelopes along with our sinking fund categories. I'm really trying to make an effort of getting this started already. This is one of the spreads I was very excited to get going. With the beginning of the year being so busy with our newborn, I was not able to do this yet, but it is coming. It is coming, and I'm really excited to start using this. But that's actually going to be it for this weekly check-in video. Thank you guys so much as always for tuning in, and hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!